Good morning, huddlers. It is Friday, and as you know, Friday is our day to create for you the space where leadership and business is just second nature to you. And today I'm delighted to be here with my friends, Tara and Jessie Torres. My good partner, Giovanni Gonzalez, is on a plane going to see his dad and doing what he does best, which is to spread love and spread the good stuff. I'm going to start today with a quote for us. Fear keeps us focused on the past or worried about the future. If we can acknowledge our fear, we can realize that right now we are okay. Right now, today, we are still alive and our bodies are working marvelously. Our eyes can still see the beautiful sky. Our ears can still hear the voices of our loved one. That's not Han. Roll the intro, listen. Well, I've got a question for all of you. If you, and it's a trick question, if you woke up somewhat afraid this morning, raise your hand.
I could think of something to be afraid of.
That's why it's a trick question. See, to be afraid, to be anxious, to be worried, to be thinking about something in the future that you want, that you don't have yet, and are apprehensive about its materialization, to be thinking about something in the past that you may regret. It's just what it is to be human. So to be human is to wake up afraid. And to be powerful is to begin to grapple with the fact that that's what it is to be human. So today's conversation is anchored in this question: how to turn fear into fuel for your dreams. Well, guess what? You've got plenty of fuel. And before we get into that, I have a few questions for you to prime you up. Good morning, Peter. It's so great to see you again. Welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be seen rather than viewed.
Well, in the business you're in, you know really a whole bunch about that. Good morning, Peter. Tell me, where are you, my friend?
In deep thought, in simplicity, I'm right here where I should be.
Right here, right where you need to be. Welcome home.
Thank you.
For here is home. Good morning, Andrea.
Morning, Pharrell.
And who are you going to hug today?
Time is now, and I am going to keep. I keep saying this. I'm going to keep hugging my daughter. Yeah, no, not my boyfriend. Yeah, that one is a default. My daughter until she goes to college next week. So,
oh my God! Oh my God! Hold her tight. Keep her in your arms.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have this thing that I believe. It's not true. If you hug somebody tight enough, they'll leave a dent on your body and they'll never be gone. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Stacy Robinson, good morning.
Good morning, my Daily Huddle family. How's it going?
Welcome home, brother. Welcome home. Tell me, how are you, Stacy?
I'm how I say I am, right? And that's all the time, right? So I'm continuing to feel wonderfully accomplished as I am meeting my summer goals and as I am applying what I'm learning in the Daily Huddle.
Well, welcome home and thank you for being here. And oh my God, look who's here, masked up and ready to go. Giovanni, good morning. Get off mute and say something, brother. I
Good
love
morning. Good morning. Good morning. Great to be here and now.
Good morning and welcome to this space where you get to turn your fear into fuel for your dreams. And I have the honor and the pleasure of introducing you to our guest speaker this morning. That is Jessie Torres. Jessie knows a thing or two about mastering fear, about taking fear, whether it's from her life or from others' lives, and turning it into the kind of fuel that propels dreams to a place that you or no one could imagine. She's helped thousands of people do just that, turn themselves into high performers while harnessing their fears and propelling their dreams. She helps clients gain freedom from constant self-doubt and judgment, annihilate the pain and turn it into purpose and passion. So this morning, she's here doing just that with us. Jessie, can't
Good
thank you
morning.
for being here with us. Welcome to the Daily Huddle again. Good morning.
Thank you. Thank you. Super happy to be here and see all these beautiful faces join us. So super thrilled. Thank you so much for having me.
You know, we got together yesterday and began creating this conversation. And you said something that was, to me, was just striking, that we could actually take fear and turn it into fuel for our dreams. And that's almost antithetical, right? Because people like me and others get stopped by fear.
Mm-hmm.
Begin this conversation with us.
Well, it's so interesting. Sometimes fear can imprison us. It can scare us and paralyze us. And it can also move us. You know, we all have a way of accomplishing our goals. Some of us move toward what we want, and some of us move away from what we don't want. And a lot of us have that. We're like, oh, you know, ooh, there's my bank account, or oh my gosh, I got to take care of my family, or whatever it is. It's like, that scares me to not be able to provide, or whatever it is. And so that gives you a deeper conviction to get things done. But I feel like sometimes that gets us places, or sometimes people are running away from something somebody placed on them. Like maybe their father told them they'd never, you know, accomplish their dreams. They'd never amount to anything. Or so they're moving away from making that true. I don't ever want to prove my father right. So they work hard, they become overachievers, and they accomplish goals. But what ends up happening eventually, they're living from that having to prove energy, and it gets exhausting because it's never enough. It's like a cat chasing its tail. It's like, oh, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? Because I have to constantly keep achieving in order to prove that I am significant and enough. And they end up with adrenals failing, and they're exhausted, and they just never feel satisfied, and they don't feel fulfilled. They're like, I don't know, I've done great things, but there's something empty in my spirit. And so we want to take that fear as fuel, but from a different energy. So,
Jessie, in that space where fear is propelling me that way, it is still fuel, but it's this kind of disempowering or maybe debilitating fuel that actually saps your energy rather than feed you.
Yes. Again, it does fuel you, and you do move forward because that fear is looming. But imagine, like, if you get away from the bear, right? You're terrified, so you're running forward because you got to get away from that bear. You win, you get away from the bear, so you accomplish the goal at hand, but your adrenals are jacked. You are in fight or flight. Your body's tight. Your heart rate's pumping like crazy. It's no different when you're running from a fear to accomplish a goal. It's depleting to the body after a while. So in A Course in Miracles, it says there's only ever two things. There's love and there's fear. Okay. And fear is just a call for love. So if we can recognize, number one is acknowledge that fear is present. We're human beings. There's going to be moments that we have fear. In regular life, if you're driving down the freeway and somebody cuts you off, it jolts you, it scares you, it makes you think you could have crashed, something bad could have happened. That jolt in your body is normal for everyday living. Now imagine if you sprinkle that on every single day, that's what's driving you. It's going to eventually take its toll. So if we understand that fear is present, we acknowledge it, we can utilize it as feedback. Because what I see as fear, I'm like, just fall in love with it. Know that you're going to be scared to do things, because all fear is stepping into some sort of unknown, right? Am I going to reach my financial goals? Am I going to get, all the things that I want on my plate done? Am I going to be able to take care of my family? I don't know. And that scares me. Yes. So if we can utilize it as feedback, we can just make it be a call for courage.
So without losing your train of thought, I want to go back for a second and just repeat or rephrase what you said. You said fear is always present. Mm-hmm. But to be a human being, as we were saying at the beginning, is to wake up afraid. But it doesn't have to be the kind of fear. We can actually use that fear as a wake-up call, a warning signal, an alarm bell. Something to awaken us to how we can truly be, rather than just being afraid.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, again, the important thing is to acknowledge, not fight it. It's just like, oh, that's present. I see that I am feeling this fear. And what is that trying to tell me? And for me, focus on purpose just redirects that fear into fuel. All of a sudden, it's like, if I'm here to show up in service, whatever I'm doing, fear is present. I have to make sure I take care of my family, whatever. Okay, how many people do I get to serve today? And that immediately shifts my fear into fuel for my passion, for my purpose, for my conviction, for whatever it is I'm going to accomplish today. It typically involves other human beings, right? Whatever we're doing, it typically involves other human beings. If that's the case, 3 words that resonate with me that a mentor of mine said. I was going to be speaking in a group of 300 people. It was the first time I'd ever spoken to a group like that. And I was really excited. But right before I started going through how much they had invested, how much it took to get there, and I started to have a little bit of the jitters, I called my mentor and I said, yeah, I'm a little bit afraid. I'm having a thing. And he said, oh, don't worry, just focus on them. Those 3 words have carried me through speaking, through writing, through posting on Facebook or YouTube or whatever. It's like, focus on them. That was all I needed. And when I focus on the people that I'm here to serve, the fear just gets really tiny. And now I'm fueled to be able to do whatever I can to serve and help them. And what's great about that is that wealth follows service. So if you're looking to get your financial goals, think about, I have 3 questions. Number 1 is focus on them. Number 2 is, what do they need? What do they need? And number 3, how can I help? All of that puts focus on what I'm here to do, who I'm here to serve, and the fear just goes away. It's just like, anytime fear is present, I turn it to fuel for what is it that I'm here to do and how am I going to help? And it feels good. It just feels good because, again, if we're in the human game, which we all are, we need each other. And if we're going to provide a service and we focus on the people we're here to serve, all of a sudden it gets exciting. It gets fun. And what's great about it too, energetically, we're not in fight or flight. We're now in excitement, right? And like my daughter says, fear is just excitement without the breath. So if we take a breath and we recalibrate to our success FM, where our frequency is excited to serve, where we're turned on, ready to rock, to serve, to just take care of somebody, all of a sudden our heartbeat goes into coherence. And now the communication between our heart and our brain is open up to this universal intelligence that's telling our heart to beat. And now all of a sudden we get aha moments or an idea, something innovative to do, right? How can I do it different? What is different about my method? How can I be, you know, the one that creates something that's never been created before? Because if we're going to be successful in business, we have to be looking at how can we do it differently? How could we improve? How could we be innovative? And when you start to focus on the client, it just gets a whole lot of fun.
Yeah. And it's almost as if when you focus on them, you actually don't have to put any effort in being innovative. It's like when you focus on them, what they need will feed your innovation.
Mm-hmm.
What they want will feed what you create. So to turn fear into fuel, focus on purpose and focus on them.
And in leadership, Sorel, it's the same thing. Like if we focus on the people in our team, right? If we actually care, if we actually like want to know how they are, or, you know, are they enjoying their position? Are they a part of your mission, or are they at a job? Right. And then it's so important to really recognize focusing on them as well. Again, when you take it outside of you, like I want to honor the leader in you. I want to honor the business person in you. I want to honor that. But when you connect it to your service, it's just so good. The law of reciprocity. And the other thing about fear, I say that it is a call for courage, right? Because fear doesn't exist without the element of courage. So it's like, oh, okay, fear's present, time to pump some courage muscle, right? And the thing is that we have all of us, if we're here today, we've navigated fear a lot, you know, even if it's fear of going to the dentist, you know what I mean? Fear is a frequency. Our heart is beating at a specific rate when we're in fear, right? It's like I talked to my son and I was asking him how he handled a certain situation, and he told me this whole long story. And I said, wow, Anthony, that sounds amazing. How did you feel when you did that? And he said, oh, Mom, I was terrified. And I said, I get that. And you did it anyway, right? So what you did is you built massive courage muscle in that moment. Yeah. And he's like, oh, I didn't think about that. And I'm like, yeah. So I think it's time for us, no matter how many times we've been afraid, to notice if we are here, if we're still standing, we faced that fear and we built massive courage muscle. And when we recognize that, we can start to see that our courageous being can handle anything that comes our way.
Yeah. And it's what I'm hearing there, Jessie, is that it's not that fear is calling me to be courageous or to try to be courageous. Fear is just the thing that's saying, you are courageous, and now is the moment to take an action that serves them. So I can wire it that way.
Yeah, very much. And
remind me, I am who I say I am.
Well, and I love that, because I think what's important a lot in coaching, people are saying, you know, who do you need to be to get that goal done? Or who do you need to be to accomplish things, which I get that. And I have used that in the past, but I like to say, what part of you do you need to call forward? Because it's already within you. If you look at anybody that has accomplished something that you want to accomplish, or that you look up to, a mentor or somebody, think about what are the character traits that you love about that person. Is it that they're resilient? Is it that they persevere? Is it that they're courageous? Is it that they're confident, or whatever? There are moments in time when you have done those things. You have those character traits within. I don't think this is a becoming. I think it's an unveiling. It's already inside of you. If we really look at the champion in the arena of your life, each and every moment that you've navigated adversity, each and every moment that you've had someone hurt you, and we all have. I can say that wholeheartedly. Some of us may have had an amazing life, but there's still people that might be cruel or might say something unkind or whatever. In those moments, you have gotten back up and you've continued to be kind, or you've continued to serve somebody. That shows the character in you of resilience, in you of your ability to still love. And I think that is potent. Anything that you want to accomplish that you feel you are lacking is already within. I think we lost Sorel. We did. Well, it's just us guys. When the cat's away, the mice will play. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's super, super important. You know, really seeing our fear as feedback And recognizing that it's just stepping into the unknown. But as leaders, we go first, right? So when we don't, as leaders, we don't ask for permission to do the uncommon and to step into the unknown. We just do it, right? And that's how we become leaders. Leaders go first because we want to help others. We have to take that first step. There you are, Sorrel.
I am back, and Stacy has a question. Go ahead, Stacy.
Thank you. I'm so sorry I came off mute. First of all, Jessie, if you could, I just need to know if you can follow me around every single day forever and just affirm me every moment of the day. That'd be awesome. The other thing is, I definitely understand the power of letting go of the fear by concentrating on the client, what they need, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That also sounds massively exhausting, and I could imagine very easily for those of us who like are massive givers, that we could give so much in moments like that without having someone to give us, like, I understand turning the fear into the fuel, but what happens when you give so much and then there's nothing else or no one else that fills you up again? Can you talk on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely important. I would create a practice where you self-care, because we can't depend on others to give us, right? Because otherwise we're going to be kind of waiting around going, hey, it's my turn. Hello, anybody? Right? And so we have to be able to have our own rituals to take care of ourselves. Now, how lovely if we have people to serve us, for sure. But the beautiful universal law of reciprocity, Stacy, is that when you give, and here's the thing, it doesn't have to be exhausting. Giving is saying a kind word to the Starbucks lady, you know? And what's beautiful about that is that you see people smile. You see people like, thank you. Now, when you walk in, they're looking forward to seeing you, and you are being fueled by the love that you gave. You get it back tenfold. So it's really beautiful, but I would definitely create your own rituals and your own practice to self-love, to make sure you feel solid and complete and you're full, because I always say we got to fill our own cup so that we can love from the overflow. Otherwise, if we're coming from a half full cup, we're constantly looking for others to fill it. And that is where it gets exhausting.
Thank you so much for that reminder. Thank you.
Yeah, you got it. You got it. So exciting to really be in that space and trust that you will get it back tenfold. It's just the way we are. Human nature, we are love innately. We were born in love. We were taught to hate. So we can come back to love again, and it feels so good and it feels so rich. And the more that we give, the more that we get. So that's why fear, if we're constantly driving from fear and when that contracted state, trust me, your voice is different. When you speak to somebody and you're driving from fear, it could be sharp, or it could be impatient, or it could be, you know, what are you going to give me versus what can I give you? And I promise you that reciprocity, you will get back more than you give. And it's such a great feeling, more than I've been so surprised sometimes. And when I don't look for it, maybe I start to feel depleted. All of a sudden I'll get a message from somebody randomly, you don't know, but when you blah, 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 it saved my life. And it's one of those things that kind of stops you in your tracks. And you're like, oh my God, I had no idea. We never know what bombs are going off in people's lives. So the more we show up in service, the more we're going to get that back. And in business, it's just the game changer. It is the game changer. And trust me when I tell you, I always thought this way, but I turned that part of me off because I was told love, it's nice, Jessie, but it doesn't pay the bills. And I have really, really stand strong in disbelief about that. I believe that love is everything. If we don't love our clients, we won't have any. If we don't love our team, they will leave us and they won't be connected to our mission. And if we don't love our family, they will leave us. So tell me it's not about love, right? And love transcends all dimensions. Right? Love is innate. We love loving. We've just forgotten in the rat race of, like, you know, gripping the steering wheel and drinking 5 frappa somethings, you know, just to stay alive, or those 5-hour drinks that, you know, society's telling us, if you're not gripping the steering wheel, then you're not working hard enough. And that's just a myth.
Jessie, you bring up a point that sparks
this in my mind. Could it be that the ultimate purpose is to love? And that when I'm afraid, I can simply ask this question while focusing on them. What can I do now? Or what can I say now? How can I be now to just love them?
100%. Actually, I'm glad you brought that up. My primary question in moments that I might not feel so loving, my question is, what would love do in this moment? What would love do in this moment? And trust me, there was a time when COVID first struck that somebody my son posted something, he reshared something, and there was this lady that attacked him profusely, and it was a lady he knew, and just was horrible. If you think this, you're uneducated and mentally ill. I mean, it was really harsh. And my mama bear fangs came out, and I was like, who is she? She has no idea who my son is, blah, blah, blah. And I wanted to get on the keyboard, and I stopped and I took a breath and I walked away, and my daughter had read it at the same time. We both walked away and met each other. We held each other and cried. It just was so vicious and it was so uncalled for. And then I thought to myself, okay, take a deep breath. I know that when people attack, it is a reflection of their pain, not necessarily the truth. And so when I really connected to that, and I thought, okay, this lady's coming, she got hurt, she got scorned, something inside of her, because love is innate in us. When we attack, it's because there's that part of us that's hurt, that's being triggered by something said. So I got back to my keyboard and I was going to type something through love. And what was beautiful is that my son had already responded in love. My son himself had responded, and it taught me a lesson, right? So I'm constantly asking that question. And again, when you do that, you will step into the unknown. And the unknown, guys, it's just, we don't know it, but it does not mean it's dangerous.
Yeah. Jessie, I think Peter has a question. Peter, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Pharrell. It's not really a question. It's just a confirmation for the platform in bringing forward this discussion and the way that it's really done. It's exhilarating and exciting, and I'm trying to contain myself. But Jessie, great examples and presentation. The takeaways, there's so many, but there's something that you said, and I think I was watching you a couple of days ago, and it comes back to me. It's wealth follows service. And the focus on them is so pivotal in guiding you. And the last thing that you said before was, what would love do in this situation? And I find myself having to lay down, as I said, my preconceived ideas to facilitate what the person is saying to me at the time. And it's all about them. So thank you for, sharing what you did, and the way that you presented. It's easy to understand and to apply. So I'm appreciative. And thanks, Sorel and Giovanni, for this forum that can help to bring out stuff like this and shed light. And so many people are listening. I was giving my wife the phone to listen in the room, and she came back and she was shaking her head. So it's confirmation. Good stuff, guys. Good stuff.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Peter. Well, Jessie, as you know, these 30 minutes fly by, but at the risk of going over time, I'd love for you to touch on one thing. When Stacy was speaking earlier, I got the sense that maybe what it is for human being is to think that there is a finite amount of giving I can do, or finite amount of love available where I am to share, or finite amount of whatever it is that my client needs that I can give. And when I do, it leaves me depleted and exhausted, and I need to replenish myself. So is it really that way? Or when I'm coming from love in the space you're creating, it could be that the source is infinite. What are your thoughts on that in closing?
Oh, in closing. Okay. I think you're 100% right. I think, again, we are love innately. I think we have to define what it means to serve and to love, because sometimes setting boundaries is being loving. So I think we need to define that, because sometimes we can be over givers And that comes from a whole different place of codependency, or I need you to like me, and so I'm going to keep giving to you in spite of myself, which does not serve the world. We have to define what love means. And sometimes love means saying no, or not right now. Can I get back to you tomorrow? It's really defining those boundaries so that we can be at our best and not depleted, because then it becomes sacrificial. And somebody told me once, get off the cross, we need the wood. So we don't want to deplete ourselves to the point that we can't give. And the last thing I want to say, because I know we're closing, is guys, we are running out of time. Like, we need you. We need you out there in the world in service. So please know that to serve others does not mean sacrificing you. It just doesn't. We need you to be strong, because if you're here, I know you're leaders. And if you're leading, we all need the authenticity of the leaders that are here to be able to lead our people that are afraid. And so don't deplete yourself. Feed yourself first, and know that depletion, it doesn't serve the world.
Thank you, Jessie.
You got
Thank
it.
you. And world, have no fear, for Jessie will be back. And Jessie, I want to especially acknowledge you. Yesterday, we came to you and said, would you join us? And you were an automatic yes. And I want the world to know that who you are is that yes, that always comes from that space that you just created with us. So thank you for being here. We'll wrap up the show right now with our 7 tenets, and we'll begin with your favorite, Jessie. Love. And I think they're all your favorites. Laugh. Stress less. Eat in a way that feeds this temple. And we say that you can eat plant-based and it will feed your body, the vehicle that carries you around as the giver, the lover. Give. Sleep, rest, so you can take care of yourself, and also move. Shake your tail feathers. Monica might say twerk, and I say shake what your mama gave you. Welcome to the Daily Huddle. Welcome home. We're here every weekday, Monday through Friday, from 9 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. My name is Sorel Ketan. My guest today was Jessie Torres, and the co-founder of the Daily Huddle is Giovanni Gonzalez. Thank you to all the hosts. Thank you to everyone who makes the Daily Huddle the home that it is for everyone. Stay safe. Have a phenomenal weekend. See you on Monday.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jessie. Thank you,
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Have a great one.